What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Soups. My name is Ande.
And I'm at Ways of the Sip, Guest Music. What's going on?
What's going on? And today it's snowing a lot. So I am glad that I'm home and I'm not outside like I was before. Um, my weekend was pretty chill though so far. As of right now, we're recording this on a Sunday, so whenever you hear this. Uh, and I'm home. I'm snowed in basically at this point now. I went out to go eat, got myself some gems that Ed had told me about, and I'm good. I'm good for the rest of the week. Now it's just copacetic until next weekend because I can't wait for next weekend. But how was your weekend, Ed?
Not too bad, not too bad. Did some errands, got some stuff done. So that's about it.
Nice, 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 nice. All right, y'all. So let's get into some fun stuff now. Um, First things first, big headlines. Kathleen Kennedy is going into retirement. It's here. Uh First when I first read this, I was very I'm not gonna lie, I was type excited. Since this being announced, I shared it on my socials and I've gotten a lot of I got a lot of people coming at me because of it. Um And to set the record straight, like I did in my DMs and to the people that I spoke to in person, it's not so much of the fact that I'm not like I don't have beef with her. I'm just more excited for Filoni being in charge, mainly because of the whole reason how I got tied into this so and so like new Star Wars was mainly because of him and binging the fucking Clone Wars during the COVID era that we was in, and that's when I really got in. I locked in for sure. Um, so like I'm not say what you want about her. I don't really care about all that other stuff. There are some she can be flawed though. Like let's not play dumb about that. But other than that, I'm excited to see what Filoni brings to the table because I know it's gonna be some really great stuff. And so yeah, Ed, how you feeling about this?
So Lin Brannon is going to be the other executive that's going to be sharing the role with him. Dave Filoni will be creative, and she'll be the actually like exec in charge. So everything I guess going forward is going to be a conglomeration between the two of them. So I
Okay.
know there are some projects that are already like listed, and I can pull them up so we can kind of talk about like the stuff that Kathleen Kennedy said on her way out. But overall, I'm happy she's gone. I'm happy that we're gonna be moving on in a new direction in Star Wars. Dave and John Favreau have pretty much been helming like the last give or take 5 years of the franchises. For the most part, with Mandalorian and Ahsoka and those stories taking place after Return of the Jedi. Um, I'm looking forward to seeing what they're doing. I know there was a plan originally for all of the Mandoverse stuff to come to a culmination and be a Dave Filoni movie, like with Thrawn being the big bad. From what I've heard, that's not happening anymore, and that's not the plan. Um, a
Mhm.
lot of the stuff, I guess, for that plan got rolled into season two of Ahsoka. So that's what we'll kind of be seeing. Mando movie will be coming out in a couple months. Outside of that, James Mangold's film, the Origin of the Jedi movie, that's it has a script, but it's on hold for whatever reason. Kathleen Kennedy didn't specify that. Donald Glover turned in a script for a Lando movie, but again,
Yeah,
nothing
I'd seen
else
that.
concrete on that. Simon Kinberg is actively working on a trilogy of films that Dave and Linwin are both very on board for. That's been the rumor that these are going to be continuing the Skywalker saga without Skywalkers. I don't know what that entails. I don't know if it's a Rey movie or if those characters are going to come back for another trilogy or if this trilogy is going to be set somewhere else in the timeline. Taika
Hmm.
Waititi also turned in a script that she called Hilarious and Great, and she confirms The Hunt for Ben Solo, which is the script that we heard about from Adam Driver. that they apparently turned in and pitched, and Bob Iger shot down because they couldn't understand how Ben Solo came back from the dead. So there's a lot there. I don't know how many of these
Yeah, there is a
projects,
lot.
but yeah.
Out of all those, though, the one that I'm most excited about is the fucking is the Han Solo one. Um, I feel like once they pivoted from the whole original Star Wars saga and they went into doing the Skywalker series and with Rey and stuff, it kind of like lessened the whole hype train for Star Wars in general, which is why I ended up pivoting into Clone Wars later on and falling back in love with Star Wars again. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff there. I did hear about that the Donald Glover one. I did hear about that one earlier before it was announced because I noticed that I seen like I was scrolling to Disney. I mean, scrolling on IG and on the Disney Channel or Disney's page, I saw he was like doing a like a Pimp My Ride version of the Millennium Falcon randomly as hell, just like showing it around and stuff. I didn't understand why he was doing that, but hearing now that he put a script in, a pitch in makes a lot more sense now to get people more recognized with him being um the character and therefore and also so
Yeah,
this is a lot of good stuff coming out. So yeah.
that's the one for me that I don't care about. I don't need a Lando movie. Good, like we got Solo. If this was Solo 2 and we were gonna have Lando incorporated in that, I'm fine for that because there is stuff from that movie that do needs to be continued. In my opinion, it's going to be a controversial take for a lot of old school Star Wars fans, but I feel like they should recast Han, Luke, and Leia at this point. I'm fine with
Mhm.
Aiden Albright continuing to play Han. He did a great job in the Solo movie. The Solo movie really isn't that bad. It's more so parts of the script that got changed last minute when the director shifted and stuff like that. So for me, I would keep him on. Sebastian Stan is the perfect Luke because he looks exactly like Mark Hamill. And you either have
Yeah,
Leia's
that's
actual,
perfect.
Carrie Fisher's actual daughter, who's already been in the franchise, and played her for the last movie to do the facial recognition and the digital tech, or Millie Bobby
Okay.
Brown as Leia. I mean, those are your choices, pretty much, in my
As
opinion.
Leia,
Yeah, Millie Bobby Brown, she'd be a good Leia.
I
She'd be
can't.
young.
Because this is the
She'd be
thing. I'm
younger.
only pitching 11 in her bald head, so it's hard for me to picture
No,
her with
no, no,
her cinnamon
no.
buns on.
Look at like Damsel, like the last movie she did, or the Chris Pratt movie with the Russo brothers. Um, she would be younger than the other two considerably. That would be the only thing. That's why I think Billy Lord, Carrie Fisher's actual daughter,
Yeah,
would
it
be
would
the
have
best
to be.
choice. Only thing you would have
Hmm.
to do is you'd have to go back and scrub her from the sequel trilogy and just replace her with like a different actress, which I feel like you could easily do and it wouldn't be an issue. But to me, those would be the choices, like to just move forward and continue making Star Wars with the characters that people actually want to see, and that's the original trilogy character.
To rewind a bit, so you said so. Where does Filoni take place in this? Like, what is his role again?
So he is the chief creative officer now for the entire Lucasfilms brand. The other executive is going to be more on the business end side of things, financial and those type of decisions. And Filoni will be overseeing the whole entire hierarchy and creative direction for Star Wars going forward now.
So then that means he would have the right to like greenlit things more
Yeah.
so than he did when Kennedy was in charge, right?
Oh, well, he's the one responsible. Him and Lin Brannon are going to be making the decisions as to what they're going to be doing going forward. And one of the decisions, which I'm not sure if it's their decision or if it's an Iger decision or if it's a merge between both, but they recently announced that Galaxy's Edge on the West Coast in Disneyland is going to be totally rebranded into Original Trilogy, and that the sequel trilogy stuff is going to be moved into a smaller section of the park just in front of Rise of the Resistance. Which, if you're if you've been to Galaxy's Edge, my big thing with the whole park was why isn't there stuff for every era of Star Wars and just the sequel trilogies? They bet the farm on that, and it kind of came back to bite them. So I love the idea that now we're going to rechange everything. Even the canteen is going to be reset because I don't know how familiar you are with like Galaxy's Edge. The whole theme of it was that it was the same day every day over and over again on like a repeat cycle, but it was set obviously in the sequel era. So now they're going to have to redate everything and make it, for the original trilogy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I was gonna segue to that, so I'm glad you brought that up because I thought that was really important. I seen that it was gonna be happening like I guess in Paris they're doing like a day, so I guess it's like a test run or so. But I just find it weird, like I don't. Star Wars is international. I mean, so I guess anywhere you put it, you test it out, you'll get a real reaction of how fans would react to it. Um, but yeah, I love that idea because so I went to the one in California. It's not different than the one in Florida, but one of the first things I noticed too was the fact that I love the land from what it is, but I do wish that I did be able to see like Darth Vader or Luke Skywalker or something. Recently, within the last year, I noticed they have been starting to bring some of those characters back, and for that people can see them. But it's just like so they had a Luke one I seen, and I think they had some. Well, they always had the stormtroopers, but Luke was the one I remember they had the most recently they had out. But that's gonna be a lot. That's gonna be really fun because seeing other people and all the generations being able to kick into that and actually enjoy themselves, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. They said that Vader's going to be now roaming the park. So Kylo Ren had previously roamed the park. Now it'll be Vader taking that spot. There's going to be a Leia and a Luke roaming around along with a Han. Chewie was already in the park, so it'll just
Right.
be, kind of redecorating his bandolier a little bit
Mhm.
differently. Um, a lot of the droids, a lot of that stuff will stay the same, but obviously we'll have R2 running around. There'll be a lot of different incorporations and hopefully some new rides going in at some point that incorporate some of that. I know Star Tours already does, but hopefully
Yeah.
there'll be
They
some
also
stuff adding to the park.
they also have they're also doing a well. This is another breaking news. I don't know if they're like just doing a refurbishment on the what's that ride? Rise of the Resistance, but I know they're either doing a refurbishment on it or I've seen, but then I've also seen another article that said that they were like completely taking it out, and this is only in the one in Cali. So which I don't know which news source to believe first, but either way, that's going to
So
be
the
kind of crazy for people coming down because that's like the main reason why folks are coming to the park because that ride is everything. Go ahead.
But from what I've heard, that ride's the only thing staying. That's going to stay, and that's going to be where the sequel trilogy stuff is kind of contained now. So that's where you'll see
Oh,
Kylo
okay.
Ren. That's where you'll see Rey. What is going to be happening is with Smuggler's Run coming up in the next month or two. Smuggler's Run is actually going to be tying into the Mandalorian movie. There's going to be
Yeah,
a,
I did.
a whole change to the ride. There's a whole new premise to the ride that's gonna actually like fully tie in with the movie. So that'll be pretty cool coming up in the next couple months to actually see how
Yeah.
that ties in.
Yeah, I did peep that as well. Man, I wish I could just catch a flight right now, especially with this weather right now. That would be great.
For sure.
Well, all right. We got some big news coming out of Star Wars. It's about time. It's been a little dry lately. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, like the last thing that they pretty much dropped was the Star Wars Vision stuff. I think, right? That was
Well,
the last Star Wars thing recently.
we're gonna have the Mandalorian Grogu movie coming out. We're gonna have Maul Shadow Lord, which is gonna be an animated series with Sam Witwer
Oh yeah.
playing Darth Maul. That's going to be coming very soon. It seems like it's going to be March, give or take, because they are doing a comic by Benjamin Percy that's going to be the prelude to the series, and that comes out
Hmm.
March 3rd, I believe it is, March 3rd or 6th, something like that. So
Hmm.
the show, my guess, is going to start sometime either around then or shortly after that. We have Ahsoka season 2 coming this year, and then Starfighter. And the other news along with Starfighter was that there will be lightsabers in it, and apparently Tom Cruise has filmed one of the lightsaber duels. He was on set, he grabbed the camera from Sean Levy and got in the water and literally ruined his pants, ruined his boots, and was holding a camera supposedly shooting a lightsaber scene. So there's not much known about the Starfighter plot or the involvement other than Ryan Gosling. The one dude from Game of Thrones, Matt Smith, is going to be playing one of the villains, and the chick from all the Triple X movies, Maxine, all those, she's going to be playing another villain apparently. That's all I know. I didn't know there was going
Yeah.
to be lightsabers in it, and then that was kind of revealed. One of many was the keyword used. So that's the important part of the text. It's okay. There's going to be more than one, obviously.
Yeah, because let me tell you, man, I'm tired of defending. I'm tired of defending Andor the way I have, because people always say, "Oh, I don't want to watch it because there's no lightsabers." Well, guess what, people? You got lightsabers in 2026 in Star Wars, so get ready.
Yeah,
So
plenty of it.
it's gonna be great. And 10 Tom Cruise in that, man, we're probably gonna get the only POV. That IMAX experience is gonna be insane. Like, I'm excited for that one. It seems like
Yeah,
it's
I
gonna
thought it
be a
was.
lot more lighthearted and fun, so that should be good.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a backdoor Ray movie. Like I have a feeling the whole plot line of the movie is going to either include her in the movie or it's going to lead to her being the end reveal of the movie. That's my assumption because this is
That would make sense.
in
That's a good lead.
in
That's
the,
a good segue.
this movie is in the Rise of Skywalker timeline. So it's after the sequel or around the same time as the sequel. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. I'm not gonna lie though, that Mandalorian and Grogu stuff though, I haven't, it hasn't won me over just yet though. I haven't gotten so much into it. I'm excited for it because, I've watched the series for so long already. But I don't know, on the movie side, it hasn't really drove me to be like, I'm not hyped yet. I know I'm gonna see it, but I'm not hyped for it. The
And
promo
this
has been okay too.
Yeah, my assumption is Super Bowl, we're going to get an official trailer for it. We've only gotten one trailer release, and that's been the thing for me about this movie is, again, it needs to be a success for Disney. It needs to be a success for the Star Wars brand. But the only marketing I've seen is the cutout when I went to a movie theater. I saw the cardboard cutout in the lobby.
Yeah,
Outside of that, like I said, they released the early trailer. My guess would be Super Bowl, but they're cutting it close. Like we're getting down to a couple of months. Meanwhile, the Avengers movies they're showing stuff a year out for. You know what I mean? So like that leads me to believe they don't have a lot of faith in the Mandalorian movie. And from what I've heard and understood, it's supposed to be like almost like a reset, like a clean slate. Like you don't need to have seen the Mandalorian TV show to go into this movie. You can just go into this movie and watch it, and you'll get kind of everything that you need to know by watching the
yeah,
movie. Apparently.
yeah. That's gonna be good stuff. All right, into our next segment, we got, you know, what comics have we copped today, or comics we copped over this week. This is our favorite part. This is maybe one of my main parts of the podcast. But I'll start first. For me, I didn't. You shame me, strike me down lightly, or whatever. But I didn't get around to going to my LLC this week. But I have been heavy on my trades, so I didn't show these off last week. I've showed them off on my page, but I'm still into these too. So as of right now, I'm about. I'm kind of thick into this, but right now I'm reading Daredevil's Born Again, the Marvel Premiere Collection. I'm really enjoying it. After watching Born Again, the TV series, and then also knowing what Daredevil went to in season 2, I've noticed that this book takes place with a mixture of Born Again and season 2 of Daredevil in a lot of ways. So knowing that and seeing that in here is has been refreshing, and it's been exciting to watch through. Also, my boy Matt Murdock was going through some shit in this book. Like my boy, my boy was going through it. And then secondly, recently just got the literally today the complete collection of She-Hulk by Charles Soule. I've been really enjoying Planet She-Hulk by Stephanie Phillips. Ironically enough, both of these characters she's getting herself into. So I really can't wait to see what this is about. I mean, you got Doom on the cover, so you already know it's gonna be some drama in this. But love the art style in this. It has like a very like 80, like not even 60s Andy Warhol type fucking vibe to it. So I'm really excited. They got some main characters in here, um, and a lot of it does has inspiration from the Marvel TV show She-Hulk, which I did hear some news about that because that was something I hope will come back, but it just seems as like the money was right.
Do you have something
So yeah,
playing in the?
um, you may have it might be in the other room. Is it coming
Yeah,
through?
yeah, I did. I heard. I
Oh,
heard something in the background. So my that She-Hulk run is good. That was one of the ones I was telling you that Ollie's had. The other one is the Dan Slott omnibus that they had that was floating around of the full entire run of that. So definitely keep an eye out for that if it didn't hit your Ollies yet. My big ones for this week were Gail Simone's X-Men. It's back, Uncanny X-Men. Finally, Mutina is back for another appearance. Still don't have a lot of information regarding her other than she's pretty good. She threatens Wolverine a bunch. She threatens all of the kids. She reveals some information regarding the Endling that we've been learning about in the series. So I am glad this book is back. I loved Unbreakable X-Men, but Uncanny is where my heart and soul is at. And Gail just does such a phenomenal job on this. Um, Another fantastic issue in the series. G.I. Joe this week was the end of the Dreadnought War. And spoiler alert, fast forward 50 seconds if you don't want to know what happens. But this ends up being the first appearance of Zartan. It's revealed that Zartan has been in front of our eyes most of the series so far. We just didn't know, and it was really cool review. This ending of the Dreadnought War was basically how the Dreadnoughts became affiliated with Cobra in this new Energon universe, and it's been really great. And then we did have the Avengers issue. I read it. It was cool. The Russell Dauterman cover is absolutely fantastic. I wish they would put this as a poster because this full, every
yeah.
Avenger
Because it's
ever
like a
is just
360 cover. That's dope.
yeah, so cool. So it was a decent issue. It was fun. It was a callback. It involved a lot of cameos by people and um, kind of the original Avengers team getting together, and it was just fun how it kind of evolved. And then last but not least, issue three
Mm.
of DKO. The story continues. It was an interesting read. Um, let's just say there was some appearances in this that I was not expecting. And yeah, so this continues. I believe one of the crossover issues is the one that we were talking about last week, where we get to see Sub-Zero and Homelander and some of the other characters like starting to pop up
Oh, so
before the
that's the one. Okay, cool. Yeah, that
yeah,
one's
yeah.
waiting
This
for me, and I can't wait for that one.
it's not this issue. I think it's one of the upcoming issues though that are one of the side stories is one of the issues that they'll all be appearing in, which is pretty cool. But yeah,
Copy,
that's it
copy.
for me for comics this week. Some good stuff, but yeah, that Uncanny X-Men man, it really is the one for me that I always look
That's
forward
what I
to.
was going to ask. Which one was you most enjoyed this week? That Uncanny
Yeah,
one, I figured.
yeah, Uncanny,
But
and then GI Joe. Like I said, that was really surprising to see the reveal. That really just shocked me as like the last page final reveal. You're like, oh, I didn't know he was right here the whole time. So it was
yeah,
cool. It was because that's kind of what you were wondering is you saw some of the dreadnoughts in the earlier series and obviously with the dreadnought war going on, but you haven't seen him. And Snake Eyes is another character that like has not appeared yet in this new Energon book. So it'll be another big moment whenever Snake Eyes finally shows up, or we get to see a character become Snake Eyes.
I wanted to get into that, but I did see that they have like a trade for it, so I was ready to get that trade because I want to catch up on it before I get into it. Um, because between this Daredevil Born Again, I've also been reading the Vision book as well. I think that's by the Tom King one.
Mm.
Just to get myself ready for Vision Quest as well, because that was another crazy one as well. And it has a lot to do with the world that we live in right now with AI and stuff like that. And it was great. It's great. Um, so yeah. When with that being said, what else we got? Um, Watching anything that you're watching right now. This is going to be another segment that we start, where myself and Ed will talk about some of the things that we're watching right now, and some of the things that we maybe bought as well that are uh, what's the word for this? Geek related or
Yeah,
comic culture
yeah,
related. Yeah.
yeah, culture
Um,
related.
yeah.
Either
Um, and so um, And so for me, I mean, today I would definitely say this cop in the She-Hulk was probably my cop for the whole week.
way.
Uh, as far as that goes. Um, oh, actually, I did actually cop some comics and whatnot this week, and I also got and some other stuff on IG. One of my boys, shout out to Cheddar Comics because he always hooks me up on IG, but. So from Cheddar, I did cop. It's an old school Archie collection, but it was a crossover with the Predator. So there was only like 5 series of it, and so I was able to cop that this week as well. And then I also got a. Damn, I would have to look at my whatnot, but it was also an invasion like Spider-Man and Venom crossover. Not a crossover, but comic. Um, Damn, I have to get that. But in the meantime, those would be the same thing. Well, how about you, Ed? What did you do? What you got?
So my purchase for this week, I actually have it here because it showed up. So this is a McFarlane Joker set that came out. The set goes for about $250, and it's a numbered set. So there's only 5,000 of these that were made. There was
Oh
a
wow.
crazy deal on Amazon the other day from one of their wholesalers. A lot of people didn't want to buy this because of the price. This was the only way to get Joaquin Phoenix Joker though from McFarlane, and you also get a Robert De Niro figure, which is like a one of one. There's never been a Robert De Niro figure ever produced. So the deal online was you had to add so many items to your cart, and you basically got this on a discount once you hit the amount of items added to the cart. So this went from being a $250 item to an $83 item. So I 100% went for it. And let me open the side here so you can kind of see what it looks like. But so it comes with memorabilia actually from the Joker movie. You get a full replica of his joke journal, which is pretty cool. You get a tin sign with "Don't Smile." You get his laminated laughter card. Pardon me for my laughter. And then it actually has like the full talk show set and Joker and Robert De Niro, and you can build the whole like talk show out of it. So pretty damn cool. And then yeah, that was pretty much it outside of like my normal purchases. And then what I'm watching this week. Yesterday I watched The Rip with Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. It was really great. If you like The Departed, if you like The Town, if you like both of them, pretty much in anything that they do, the movie was super solid. A couple twists and turns throughout it, so it definitely had that like Departed feel to it. And the other thing that I just watched the other day that I absolutely loved and I'd heard of it but never really knew what it was about was Midsummer with Florence Pugh. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No, I haven't.
Crazy, trippy horror movie that takes place all in the daytime. So it was really interesting. It's got a really psychological story to it. It was really really great. One of the better films I've watched in quite some time. Like I rated it pretty high on Letterboxd after I was done.
I want to check out that rip was a movie, right?
Yeah, yeah. Tiana Taylor, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, the guy who's going to be playing Hal Jordan in the new Green Lantern series. Um, I'm
He's
trying to
in
think
that.
anybody else. Yeah, he plays one of the DEA agents. Um, yeah, so he
The
was
guy
great
who
in that.
plays Green Lantern or Hal Jordan? I mean, not
Uh,
Hal Jordan. John
the
Stewart.
guy the guy that's going to be playing Hal Jordan, the guy
Hal
from Friday Night
Jordan.
Lights, coach from Friday Night Lights. Yeah,
Yeah. This will be a perfect time to catch up on him because I haven't seen what his acting has been lately. But when does that
yeah.
even
This
drop?
it dropped Friday. Oh, are you talking about Green Lantern or
Yeah,
the
Green
Rip?
Lantern. When does it come out?
Green Lantern is going to be coming out in the spring, I believe, or summertime. Supergirl is in May, I believe, or June. So
Yeah.
somewhere along there, or maybe even like summertime, I guess would be is like maybe after Supergirl, but we'll see.
Yeah. I really want to see that the rip mainly because of it's an all-star cast in that shit, and also Tiana Taylor coming off of her global Golden Globes winnings and watching I started watching one battle after the next, and that movie was fucking it's has been really good too. It was a good contender to be against Sinners, but I don't know, to me I like Sinners more. I guess it's because it's more of the sci-fi-ness of it and all that good stuff. But for me, what I've been watching, I'm recently kind of catch up on my JJK. I've been on my anime shit lately, so I've been trying to catch up on Jujutsu Kaisen, um, as well as there's a lot of good TV out right now. So we got The Pit that just came back out. There's probably another episode that came out today. We also got Rip. What other TV shows have I been trying to rewatch? It's too many to even remember. But right now I have The Pit and I have Juju Kaisen. Juju Kaisen has been like my number one thing, though. To be honest, I do want to catch His and Hers with Jonathan Barthel, because I heard that was also great as well. And I was listening, I was listening to the JVP, and they started talking about it a little bit, and I immediately skip that. So I'm not gonna be like them and ruin it for anybody. But yeah, uh,
Yeah,
those
was
are
listening
my
to
shows of the week.
I was
What were you
listening to
gonna?
them talk about it too, and yeah, so I actually was just listening to it before we hopped on. So yeah,
Yeah.
that was fresh hearing that. I didn't like one battle after another. I really
Oh,
like was creeping the whole entire movie. Like I don't know, I understand like the premise and what it was supposed to be, but dude who was like the main villain, man antagonist, dude, he creeped me out so bad like the whole movie. It like it made me cringe like the whole entire movie.
like the dude
I
who
couldn't.
was fucking with Tiana Taylor.
Yeah, yeah, like and
Mhm.
just Leonardo DiCaprio's performance, like I understand what they were going for. I understand the whole premise of the whole movie, but for me, when like people were ranting and raving, saying like this was the movie of the year, this was the best thing that came out, and then I watched it, I was just like, this was it. Like I have five other movies that I liked better than this. You know what I mean?
It has a lot to do with the cinematography, and when people see things visually, they automatically, compare it to being the best.
Yeah,
So without knowing story, and because people like to seeing the eyes can like fool you all the time. So seeing something that looks great, people sometimes will do that. Plus, you have this all-star cast in it as well, and automatically think that. But I enjoyed it a lot. Um, I, like I said, I didn't finish it. I'm like halfway into it, but from what I've seen so far, the point that I was if this is Sinners, the point that I would be in this movie, I love Sinners. Sinners is already better than this by a long
yeah,
shot.
yeah. That was
That
my one of my
soundtrack on
favorite.
Sinners is insane. The fucking just the story, and just following Ryan Coogler himself as a director and going into the avenues that he has and watching him go from Fruitville Station to where he's at now, you can like see the vision and the growth so clearly that he's just amazing. And people can hate on his deal all they want, but that man got that movie for life.
I like Sinners a lot. That was one of my favorites, along with a couple others that I had way above one battle after another. I think I rated that like a 2.5 on Letterboxd because I really didn't care for the movie at all.
Yeah. Well, you know how this game goes, man. Once you
Yeah,
get all those people in one room, automatically.
transitioning transitioning into another topic of stuff that's going to be coming out tonight as we're actually filming this on Sunday, Knights of the Seven
Right,
Kingdoms drops.
right.
That is the newest series from George R. R. Martin set in Westeros and Game of Thrones. It's 100 years before Game of Thrones. A couple of the
Right.
characters that are in Game of Thrones, particularly Master Aemon, is still alive in this series. Like he's very young at this age. He was the blind Meister at the Wall that John and Sam kind of befriended in the main Game of Thrones series. So that starts today. It is based off a bunch of short stories and graphic novels that were done that George did, and now they've all culminated them into one book that you can pick up and just kind of get them all together. But from that, there was a George R. R. Martin interview that kind of came out with the Hollywood Reporter that kind of tied in hand with the series, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about from that.
Yeah, we can get straight into it. Uh, I had the article. I briefly went through it, but I noticed one of the main things he mentioned was that I guess he's almost done with the next book.
Well, so that's the thing. He makes reference to being at a certain page count, and he's been at the same page count now for the past 5 years. Pretty much, maybe even longer than that. Every time he's asked, he's kind of stayed at the same amount of pages. He says in the interview that he keeps going back to chapters. He reads them, they're not very good. He goes back and rewrites them. So it kind of seems to be a constant struggle with this book. Technically, what a lot of people don't realize is there's two books that are supposed to be left in the series, not just Winds of Winter, which is the next book. There's supposed to be a Dream of Spring that comes after that to conclude the series. Um, but from what it sounds like, I don't know if George is writing both books and is going to drop them as like part one, part two. I don't know if he's ever going to finish the series. He said in the article that it would be a shame and he would be embarrassed if he never finished it and that it is something he's working on. But he also makes reference into the article that he's working on more Dunk in the Egg stories for Knights of the Seven Kingdoms because what a lot of people don't know is the novellas only cover up a couple of years in some of their stories, but the rest of their story is told in Fire and Blood, the Targaryen book, and it's also told in the Westeros history book. So you know what happens to them and you know kind of where their story goes, but it's not mapped out as far as their adventures in the novellas. So George said he's working on them. He's working on another Fire and Blood book, and then trying to write Winds of Winter too in the meantime, plus all these other things that he's doing. So I don't know if he's ever going to get it done. He is 70 something years old. I, I,
Yeah, I don't
I
know
don't
what's
know.
going on with dude. Like, this is almost like the fucking Snyder Cut effect all over again, where like just drop it and just let the world make what they make of it. At least unless you created it what it is what it is. Um, with the stuff that's coming out tonight though, so like what in the books who what because I've been so confused off of this whole TV show since I noticed it in New York Comic Con. But like, who are what's their significance? Like, I don't understand where do they like why are they important enough to get a TV show? Is what I'm trying to say.
So in the original Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister, the Kingslayer, makes reference many times to Sir Duncan the Tall. He is one of the greatest knights the Seven Kingdoms ever encountered. His chapter in that book that Jaime was trying to get into was multiple pages long of all the stories and tales that he did. He's basically rough summary. Sir Duncan the Tall is a poor kid that starts off as a squire to another knight. He has no family. The knight basically is his only family. The knight ends up dying before he can knight Sir Duncan. So Duncan basically takes his armor, takes all of his stuff, and just says that, yeah, I'm a knight. And here's all my armor, here's all my stuff. It doesn't fit him very well. And he goes to this tournament. And basically, when he arrives to the tournament, he meets Egg, which maybe spoiler, maybe not, jump ahead 20 seconds. Egg is Aegon Targaryen, which is the brother of Master Aemon from the Wall. If you remember during Game of Thrones, Master Aemon, as he's starting to deteriorate and starting to die, he starts telling Jon and Sam stories about his brother Egg, and he starts talking to Sam like he is Egg, and that's his last words before he dies is Egg. I had a dream I got old, and then he dies. So there's a lot of incorporation, but basically they take place in the timeline where there is no more dragons. So this is after House of the Dragons. This is 100 years before Game of Thrones starts. There's no more dragons. All the dragons have died out at this point. Basically, the
Damn.
Targaryens are summed up of you have a handful of there's a ton of Targaryens that are alive at this point, but you have a handful of them that are bastard Targaryens that are made legitimate through a different bloodline, which becomes the Blackfire bloodline, and then you have the other Targaryens that are all kind of vying for their position. But this show is so much on a smaller scale. It's not going to be hopping around Westeros. There's not going to be magic and fantasy elements to it. It's more
Right.
so that, like this first season, it's just going to be focused on a tournament, and it's going to be Dunk's first tournament that he goes to as a knight and basically takes part in as a knight. And Dunk, who Egg actually becomes his squire as part of the tournament. And Egg, Dunk doesn't know who Egg is. He just thinks he's another poor kid like him. And then as the story unfolds, you obviously come to realize that Egg is the youngest Targaryen out of all of, and it kind of the politics start to play a role into the show and their
Mhm.
relationship as it goes.
Mhm. Yeah, I also like the fact from a consumer point of view, like for people who doesn't want to, who've never gotten into Game of Thrones, I think like this is a great way for newcomers to come in and just kind of like get an idea of what Game of Thrones is even about. But the main thing I like about more and what I noticed and what I read in the article is that this is only 6 episodes, so this is going to be a quick series, first and foremost. And then B is the fact that I think they say it's less than 40 minutes long. So that's an easy
Mhm.
watch for most people to get into. So it'll be it should be fun. The trailers seem very like lighthearted and chill, whatever. It doesn't seem so much drama or anything like that. So I'm excited. I'm gonna check it out for sure. So we'll see what it's like tonight.
There's not a lot of like backstabbing and over the topness to this show. It's going to be very much grounded, focused on their relationship. It's very lighthearted. There's a lot of joking between them back and forth. It almost reminds me a lot of Tyrion and Bronn's relationship in the original Game of Thrones series, where they just kind of
Yeah.
banter back and forth, and you kind of just follow them. And that's what this show is going to be. It's not going to be, like I said, a big scale show. The whole first season is this tournament, and you're going to see how this tournament plays out and the events that play out. And it's basically the first novella that George wrote. And I believe there's 3 or 4 novellas in total that are out now. George said he had plans for 2 or 3 more of them. So we'll see how they goes. But they basically started off as graphic novels that he turned into short stories.
Mm. And you said this is after Game of Thrones?
No, this is after House of the Dragon, 100 years before Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this would be fun. Um, all right.
One of
And then
one of the other
uh
one of the other things out of the interview that was kind of spoilery, which George did confirm that Jon Snow is going to be alive. He talks about writing Tyrion chapters and Jon Snow chapters. Um, for those that don't know, that haven't read the books and only watched the show, you know that Jon dies in the show. He comes back in the books. The way the books have ended as of now, Jon is bleeding out and dying in the snow as the last book takes place. So we've been almost 15 years now without knowing the fate of Jon. Everybody assumed he would come back, but now we kind of have confirmation. It's also confirmation from George that a bunch of different characters from that were alive in the show will end up dying in the books and vice versa. He talked about Sansa being one of the main characters in the books, where he had always planned to kill her off. In his original outline, Sansa was supposed to marry Joffrey and have kids and kind of become the evil queen that Cersei ended up becoming.
okay.
So George kind of made it known that maybe the show kind of made him change his mind on Sansa, and that maybe Sansa will end up living. He also said, now this was something I thought was interesting because in years past, George had said that there was a contingency plan had something happen to him. His co-writers that helped him write the history book and have done some of the other things were supposed to know the ending of this just in case something happened or George never finished, the original books, that somebody else would take over and finish them. George contradicts that statement in this article, saying that there is no contingency plan, that if he dies, it'll be like Charles Dickens' last book and it will not be finished. So I hope for the love of God that he at least can get Winds of Winter out. I mean, again, a part of
This
me
man,
feels like
bro.
his ending for the show maybe wasn't executed the way he wanted it to be done, but I still kind of feel like it's probably round about his ending of Bran becoming king, Jon being banished, killing Dany, blah 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 blah. I almost feel like people shit on that so much that now he had to go back and write a whole new book. I also am kind of on the fence about that too because there's so many other characters in the books that are still alive, characters that were never introduced in the show that still have storylines going on. So ultimately, the ending of the book would have to be something different. There's no Night's King in the books. That was just something that was created for the show as like a big bad villain. There's the White Walker still, but there's a whole different story that is incorporated with that. So I'm interested to see what he does. I'm a fan of the books. I've read all of them. I have everything that George has pretty much wrote. So I hope for, and he's a Jersey guy, so I gotta like root for him. But I just hope that he finishes it, man. That's all I
Yo,
want. I
my
want to.
boy George R Martin is more indecisive than a man's girlfriend or a wife. Like this guy will say he's doing something one day and the next day it was I never said that. It's just he is messy, bro. But whatever. We love this stuff that he gives us, so we're gonna eat it up either way. But my guy need to get it together.
Well, and the other thing he talked about was him and the showrunner for House of the Dragons not getting along, and like their relationship getting so rocky that
I
HBO
do
had to
remember
literally
hearing that.
that they had to take a break from one another and that their notes had to be passed like consecutively through like a mediator between Warner Brothers. So apparently they have a non-existent relationship. I guess George was very unhappy that this guy made a lot of changes to the House of the Dragons books. A lot of people don't realize though, like the House of the Dragons show is not meant to be like a multi-season show like they've dragged it out to be. It's literally a chapter in a history book about the Targaryen family. So like they took one chapter story that like revolves around third person views and made it into this show. So it's a lot of interpretation, but I could see why George would be mad if certain characters weren't included in it and parts of his story now were being like given to other characters that are involved in the show.
Yeah, correct. Um, I I'm really waiting for House of Dragons to come back. I thoroughly enjoyed that a lot more than I've kind of did. No, I'm bugging. I almost said this the other day, but I there's parts of House of Dragons that I like a lot, viewing wise, that are a lot more easier to digest than Game of Thrones was. So that's probably why I've enjoyed it a lot. Um, but I did hear sprinkles of that rumor. Well, that's not even a rumor. That's a real thing that was going around. Um, Going back into our next segment, we spoke about this last week, but unfortunately, I didn't. The upload went kind of sour, so I just wanted to bring it back around to kind of like really hold in on what we were speaking about. But we got Sebastian Stan in the new Batman, and it's caused that he might be he might be Two Face. He might be Harvey Dent, and I think we also mentioned that was it what's her name Black Widow. Why is her name blanking on me?
Scarlett
Scarlett
Johansson.
Johansson. Yeah, Scarlett
Yeah.
Johansson being his wife. And that's some really good stuff. We spoke about last week that you said like it should be similar to the Long Halloween. Is that right?
Yeah, so the rumor is that Scarlett Johansson got cast first. Originally, the rumor was going around that she was going to be playing Andrea Beaumont, which got a lot of people excited because Andrea Beaumont is Phantasm from the Mask of the Phantasm animated movie that came out in the 90s, which is
Right.
praised by most people as still being probably one of the best, if not the best, Batman movie that they've ever done, regardless across all platforms. If they adapted that story in live action, I am so here for it. Like that would be
Hmm.
fantastic. It's realistic. It fits in with Matt Reeves' thing. So I'm 100% here for it. The speculation is that she's going to be playing Gilda Dent, which then, if that's the case, Long Halloween comes into play because she's revealed to be the killer in the Long Halloween story. Um,
Right.
yeah, Sebastian Stan signed on shortly after that. Rumor is that he's going to be playing Two Face. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they do. I hope it's not just straight up the Long Halloween. For me, that's not interesting enough. Um, I would love to see some Court of Owls brought in, or the fact of Scarlett Johansson being Phantasm Andrea Beaumont. I just think that's such a cooler angle, especially if you're including like the Court of Owls stuff into that. To me, that just kind of makes more sense.
Yeah, then that would also make her character more depth too. I think a lot of people would like it more. And Matt Reeves and his writing when it comes to the women in the Gotham universe has been on a fucking roll. So if you want to continue that whole notion, making her would really amp shit up, and it would be great to see them all. Because in the Penguin, I had no clue about the Falcones even the Falcone even having kids. So watching that and seeing how menacing and psycho his daughter was amazing, and she did her thing in that show.
Oh yeah, Christina Milioti is fantastic. She deserves all the praise for that show. My guess is when they're shooting Batman 2, we're gonna get season 2 of Penguin being shot at the same time as well. Um,
Yeah,
apparently she is coming back. Colin Farrell is coming back. The only thing is Zoe Kravitz is not going to be part of this movie. Apparently, it was confirmed by her that she has no part of Batman 2. She's not going to be coming back. But Barry Keoghan is going to be playing Joker again. I don't know about Riddler, if Riddler's going to be coming back. If they do Long Halloween, they should all be involved in it. That's kind of the
right,
story. It's
right,
almost a little bit much like where you kind of have a lot of the villains incorporated into the story because you don't know who's the one that did everything. But
right.
yeah, I'm interested to see what they do. Um, I'm not really crazy about Barry Keoghan as Joker, but we'll see. I'm ready for DCU Batman. I think we'll get him in Man of Tomorrow. I think once we get to Man of Tomorrow, I think we're gonna get our whoever our Batman's gonna be appearing in that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, they spoke about it maybe being the guy from fucking Reacher. I don't know his name, but that guy. And
It
then
was
also the dude from the was the Yellowstone spinoff, 1986 or something like that.
Yeah, so the guy from Reacher, Alan Richardson, has been confirmed not to be the DCU Batman. He spoke with James Gunn, he said, and they talked about a different role for him. Originally, he played Aquaman in Smallville. A lot of people don't remember that. That was like one
Oh,
of his first roles. I would be fine on seeing him come back to play Aquaman. Honestly, he's the perfect Aquaman. Um, the rumor, according to like the conversation he said, is that James Gunn kind of pitched him on a villain. So I don't know if he's going to be Bane. I don't know if he's going to be Deathstroke or if there's another character. The other person I can kind of think of is Orion from the New Gods. He would make a perfect version of that. Supposedly, there's a Mr. Miracle show that was just teased by James Gunn coming
yeah,
out.
I was gonna
Uh,
mention that.
so Alan Richardson as Orion in that, I signed me up. I'm cool with that. I just don't want him to play Batman. He's too big to play Batman. The other
But
rumor in
based off of that image we've seen in Creature Commandos, the supposedly the DCU Batman is bulky like that. So
yeah, but he's
that's
he's
why
too
when I
big.
seen that, I was like, he would be perfect.
The dude from Yellowstone, I'm not familiar with. Like I've never seen Yellowstone or the prequels show.
He's great.
So I don't know anything about that. I have only seen pictures and like mock-ups of what the guy looks like. apparently, like that is the rumor that he is the DCU Batman. I don't know that for sure, so we're not going to
Yeah,
run with that. But
yeah,
I'm on the fence. I really wanted Jensen Ackles to come back and play Batman. To me, he was the pick. He's he was in my favorite Batman. He was up for the running of Batman years ago, and it just never panned out. So he was my pick. But I understand with the new DCU, you want to kind of go with people that you're not going to have to break the bank for. So
right.
if you do establish these young stars to kind of take these roles and fill them out, I'm here for that. And yeah, so we'll see what happens with the DCU. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely excited for that, and I can't wait to see more of what we get from that. Um, shoot. All right. So this isn't comic book related, but I had to bring it to the pod because I mean, Ed, a rapper himself, me, a diehard hip hop fans, but that's both of us. But we recently just got the news that the Fall Off is finally coming out. Um, we've been waiting over 10 years for this. They recently peeped. He played. He dropped the like. I think it's track two, disc two. Um, as alluding to a double disc. So it should be very interesting. I've been excited for this, but I also hasn't been feeling out for this as well. After he kind of like no pun intended, gave his fallout on the whole beef situation, I kind of was like cool over J Cole, and I'm glad that he's gracefully trying to like smooth his way back in. So I'm gonna listen for sure because I want to hear the shots. And therefore and thus for um, but yeah, man, new J Cole. I've been a fan of J Cole for some time, so I mean I am a fan. But how you feeling about this, Ed?
Listen to the track. I loved it. The whole premise of the track being in reverse and kind of telling the story backwards, shouting out
Right.
Nas's old rewind track. Really cool premise. Disc 2 was the big thing that I saw where I was like, oh, disc 2. Like, so this
Yeah.
is a double disc. Also, the rumor of the fall off being his final album. That was kind of always what he talked about. So
Mm-hmm.
is this it for J. Cole? Like, that's the one thing I took away from this was like this is he talked about this album being worked on for the past 10 years, songs being kind of put aside and this whole thing being crafted. Doing a double disc is hard, so you have to deliver as an artist on that. I'm very interested to see the concept and see the rollout and how this all kind of comes together.
So like with this, do you see there being like heavily featured in this since it's double
I don't
disc?
I don't know. I don't know
Well,
who he'd
if
work
you
with.
had to
That's like
assume, why would you imagine there being pretty? It's pretty healthy in the feature side.
I don't know. I don't know. Only because a couple of the people that he normally features with, he's kind of on the outs with, like the whole Drake Kendrick situation. So like I wouldn't expect either one of them on the project unless he did something to like piece up with Kendrick. I could see that maybe. Um, I don't know. Like Cole's gone from different ways where like he's done a full project where he hasn't had any features on it, and then he could go the other way where like this is my final album. Maybe one disc has features on it, maybe the other disc doesn't. Like there's a couple different ways he could go with it. I just don't know what his angle is on it. Like
I
my guess
definitely
would
feel
be
like we're getting some Dreamville folks on this. Like I could definitely say
oh, I'm sure.
I'm betting that we're getting Jid on this. I'm betting that we're getting Bass on this. Um Definitely. And there's got to be some bigger features there too. It's 10 years worth of music. So the whole situation with before the beef happened, there's records from there. I'm sure because he was on road with Drake during that time too. I'm sure there's a joint in there. Whether they decide to put it out or not, I mean it's up to Mr. Jermaine himself. But hey, I'm all here for it all, and I'm excited for this. It's about time we get some new music, especially from the big three.
Yeah, I'll be interested to hear it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm a Cole fan way more than I am of the other two. So
Yeah.
for me, this is probably the project I'll be looking forward to the most. But yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, that's J. Cole for you, y'all. And then I mean the news week has been all right for the most part. Right now we have whatchamacall, we have Marvel dropping a trailer for their 1 billion views for the Doomsday trailer. I find that to be so freaking hilarious because they've continuously keep doing this thing where like and the memes too about it where it's like so and so will be in Avengers Doomsday. And then when I seen a Marvel actually playing on that with thank you from 1 billion views, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, just drop the full trailer. Like, you really fucking had the energy to post a video on that. Great, but
that's
thank you, and we appreciate it that you appreciate us, but give us what we want.
that's where I feel like they're celebrating like a billion views on four different trailers that they released, and it's like, all right, but the movie still got to be good. This is what we talked about
Yeah,
last week. Like the movie
yeah.
still has to deliver. You can pat yourself on the back all you want and talk about all the impressions and the like content and the reshares and the comments and blah all the analytics. I don't care. Deliver
Mhm.
a good movie, and you have nothing to fear at that point. Like if that movie comes out and it is everything we want it to be. It's something we're not expecting. We have surprises. It's got a good story. It doesn't look like it's shot all in the volume. I'm here for it. Like I want that to be successful, but if it's not, it's not, and it's gonna get dragged just like all the other Marvel stuff that's coming out that's like not up to par. And I guess we could segue into
Yeah.
the other topic that you had with Wonder Man coming out. I don't think anybody cares. Like I keep seeing all the promo that's going on, and I don't see anybody talking about this show. I don't see anybody excited outside of you for this show.
No, but it's that's not true because I think people are just ready to sit down and just watch it. I'm so excited that I found out that this is just a straight up watch. Like you don't gotta wait for next week. It's not a week to week thing. It's a straight up drop. So I'm excited for that. But nah, dude, like I've talked to some folks on my side that are just like I mean I'm not gonna say like they're like through the roof, super excited. But most people are just like, yeah, I'm ready. Let's watch it. I just want to see something Marvel at this point. Like,
Like it'll be fun to have Trevor Slattery back and the fake Mandarin and doing whatever storyline they're gonna do with him. Like that'll be the comedy aspect of it to it. But again, Simon being introduced now before Endgame and Doomsday to probably have no part in Endgame and Doomsday doesn't matter to me. Like, who cares? You don't need this. This show never needed to be made. That's why it's dropping all at once because it's the same thing like Ironheart, where they know nobody's gonna watch it or nobody cares. It's just gonna come and go. And I feel
yeah,
like
but people
this
who
was the
don't
mistake.
watch, the people that was talking about Ironheart should have double backed on that because there was a lot of fucking important Marvel stuff in that show.
But did it have anything to do with Ironheart herself? No, it had to do with Sacha Baron Cohen and Mephisto showing up. It didn't have
But
anything to do with Riri Williams being this big draw for people to go see the show. You see my point? Like that's what
yeah,
Mephisto
I
is the
see.
thing. Once Mephisto popped up, everyone lost their mind. Oh my God, he's finally here, and blah blah blah. What does this mean? Obviously, from what we've kind of heard, it means a Midnight Suns movie is coming with Mephisto being the villain. Especially with Blade being like totally scrapped now, apparently. So like Midnight
Yeah,
Suns is accordingly the plan now. My guess is they do while Doomsday and Secret Wars is going on. Maybe they do the story of Mephisto taking over Las Vegas, and the Midnight Suns have to come together while the other heroes are battling Doom to take on Mephisto in Las Vegas. Like that would be a cool way to set it up and have something else like on the table for the next couple of years. But uh, again, it's just like, all right, that's what the big draw. I can watch the clip on YouTube and save myself the couple hours of the show. You know what I
yo,
mean?
That's crazy. Nah, nah, you can't do Riri like that, dog.
When
Because
I
if
hit,
you watch,
you know,
well, after this is another reconnecting thing. After rewatching Wakanda Forever, I never and when I first watched Ironheart, they tell you more about the whole car situation, but they already explained that in Wakanda Forever, and I had forgot about that stuff when I started watching Ironheart at first. So then coming back to it and getting that connected tissue about her dad and the stuff that she goes on growing up in Chicago and all that good stuff, then coming back and watching Wakanda Forever, I understand why when Shiri goes to take it, she says, just don't crash the car because of the sentimental value that it has to it. So, I mean, that's another tip of why people should, if you haven't already, check out Ironheart, man. And then also the main reason with the Mephisto stuff, but man, that show was great. Fuck out of here. We need more blue colored characters out here. She's a great representation, and I enjoyed it myself.
now, see, I agree with you about the characters of color and different
Yeah.
nationalities, that for sure. But they need to do a better job of picking what characters they're gonna do. Like Wonder Man and Riri Williams, like her comics don't even sell at Ollie's. Her comics have sat at my Ollie's for years now with nobody buying them, and they're discounted to like $4
But
for a
come
book.
on, like it's Ironheart and then there's Iron Man. Like who really is gonna care more about one or the other?
If they followed more of like her actual story from the books, like Tony Stark's a big part of her story. She's got an AI system that is Tony in holographic form. Like that's
Yeah,
all missing from this show that again like has no
but that's not.
premise. They
That's not.
they
Yeah.
tied her into Wakanda and instead of tying her in with Tony and like that whole thing. Like so it
I do
I
believe
hate
there's still gonna be a payoff on that, but we had to see what happens. What the whole Doomdays thing is gonna be about to
yeah,
figure that out.
apparently none of those kids are in either movie. Like they announced already that like none of them are going to be involved in Secret Wars or Doomsday. Maybe a cameo outside of
Really?
that, but they're not like part of the cast. The my guess is the
That's hard
Secret
to
Wars
believe
cast
after
is,
seeing that freaking that end credit.
but my assumption is the it'll be tied up in Midnight Suns. Is like that's how they'll explain it, and she probably won't even be like involved unless they do some Young Avengers thing, but I don't care about Young Avengers. Like I don't need any of those characters at all.
That's what this whole situation has taken begin out of whack is because of freaking Young Avengers.
Yeah,
But did
they
you
tried
also
to.
see real quick before I segue to that? Did you also see the fact that like we just spoke about it briefly, but that so Blade is just going to be in Midnight Suns, and they scrapped the whole Blade movie.
Apparently, that is the rumor that it was confirmed by Jeff Snyder from the N Snyder report. He's probably one of the most reputable sources there are. I don't follow Daniel RPK or My Time to Shine Hello or any of those like people that are just an avatar. So Jeff Snyder for me is like my number one source. If he reports it, I pretty much take it as that it's going to happen because he's usually right on the money. Or John Campea, either one of those guys, when it comes out of their mouth, it's usually pretty spot on. So yeah, from what they were saying, the Blade movie's dead, and that Midnight Suns is the movie that's on the table now, and that I don't know if Mahershala had, like, from what it sounds like to me, Mahershala was shooting down all the scripts they kept coming up with, and basically felt like none of them were good, or they were trying to oversimplify a simple story. Like, Blade could be done, like Wesley Snipes proved Blade could be done for very little money and realistic. Like, you don't have to do a lot of special effects, it's just practical sets and people in practical makeup and fangs, and you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do CGI, you don't have to do all this crazy stuff so
Hmm.
that's my assumption from all the rumors I heard about Blade. The script was so over the top, and they kept trying to like do much more than they actually needed to make the movie. And apparently, he just wasn't happy with a lot of the stuff they were doing, and they had multiple directors that they ran through and different scripts that they kept going through. So
And hearing that they putting him in Midnight Suns instead kind of proves their point of view of making it oversimplified because now they can add other characters and they just they trying to make $1 billion to $1 trillion, so they got to make it worth it. So you got to add all this extra stuff in the middle of that to do that.
Cool with it because like you've already established Moon Knight, you've already established Werewolf by Night and Man Thing and Elsa Bloodstone. So really, you have your Midnight Suns already. The only thing you need to incorporate is a Ghost Rider, and like you could either now make Agents of Shield canon and go pull Robbie Reyes from Agents of Shield, and you have your Ghost Rider. I know Diego Luna's a lot older now. He's not as young as he was back on Agents of Shield, but I don't know. I don't know what the route you or do you introduce a new Johnny Blaze? Do you go with one of the other Ghost Riders? That's really the
Right,
only
right.
thing you need to introduce outside of that is Blade and Ghost Rider, and now you have a Midnight Suns team. So it's very easy for them to put together. They've already established those characters. It's a
Mhm.
layup. It's just can you get everybody? Can you get Oscar Isaac to come back? Can you get all these other pieces to play ball for this movie?
Yeah, and they kind of killed off the whole what was the that Jon Snow was supposed to play? Not Jon Snow, but
Oh, Black Knight. Yeah, the
Black Knight.
Eternals
Yeah,
and
they killed that off. That whole idea.
there was a possible like that was the cutscene for the end of the Eternals was him and Blade and him opening of the sword and Blade telling him, "Are you sure you're ready for that?" And that was the cutscene for Eternals. So my guess is maybe they get Kit Harington involved in Midnight Suns. Like having Black Knight be in Midnight Suns is a very easy thing again to do. So maybe that's the route they go. I'm not one hundred
'Cause I
percent
wanted to
sure.
see
Like
more of that. That's a character that
I,
not folks know about, and it'll be
I would
interesting.
too. Yeah, and especially him playing it like with the Game of Thrones background, like it's a perfect
Right,
casting for the
right,
role, and having the curse and the magic and all the different stuff incorporated. They just didn't
right.
touch on it in Eternals for whatever reason. They kind of just skipped over it and just kept alluding to this mysterious sword that he had in his family that had gotten passed down. And if that was part of the tale or however they wanted to do it, like I feel like you could have a good team, a good story. Um, Maybe involve one more female character or Doctor Strange. Either way.
Either way is great. You're right. Um,
Because I feel like you could do Clea and Doctor Strange too, and as part of it, because you don't know what happened to them at the end of the last Doctor Strange movie. They're not in, Doomsday apparently. So maybe that's an option for Midnight Suns.
right, right, right. It should be interesting. There's a lot of good stuff coming. I can't wait. Um, so before we wrap up or whatever, I just wanted to ask, like we always do. Um, so what are some of the things? What comics are you looking forward to this week? Coming
This
into
week, I'm not 100% sure what comes out this week.
shit.
There was something that was on the top of my mind that I can't think of now. The debut of X Force, the new X Force series with Cable, Archangel, Helverine, and Boom Boom. It's part of the new X-Men line. It's one of the books that's going to be launching as part of the new rebrand. We're also getting the new X-Men series that's going to be debuting. So I'm looking forward to those. X-Men's my bread and butter. So that's
Right.
those are the ones I'm looking forward to.
I think next week we get Planet She-Hulk issue 3. So I'll be looking forward to that. Um, I'm gonna also my next week is gonna be crazy because well, one, I won't even be around to BB Cop, so I have to do it before I leave on this next weekend. But also, yeah, well, that's the one thing. And then the other thing I seen that coming out is I'll have to catch up on DCKO for one, and then I'll also have to catch up on I think I got to catch up on my turtles because these turtles be coming out every so often, like all the time. So I'm sure there's a new turtles, but it would be the turtles that I mentioned the last time that I actually wanted to read, like the main turtles line. So
Yeah.
those was 3 or 4 of those I'll be reading, and then trying to finish Born Again because I really want to make a video on this. So the sooner I get to finishing, the sooner you guys will get a video on it. So, but yeah, that's just me in a nutshell. I'm gonna check out this Game of Thrones now. I just want to also, for anybody that's watching this on YouTube, I want to say thank you guys for watching. Just remember to like, subscribe, and to be able to just engage with us because we want to hear what how you guys think about the pod. Um, it's a work in progress, but we're here and we're loving everything about it right now. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Make sure you give us a rating on all the podcast services. Just I think it's if you're watching this or if you're listening to this on Apple, on the bottom there's a stars down there. You just add as many stars as they have there, and you'll be great. And it will help us a ton. So thank you guys a lot. And yeah, my name's Ande,
I'm Ed.
and I'm Ed. And we are out. Hope you guys have a great one and peace.